Welcome back to GDC 2022. This is Jim Schultz. I am the head of community at Incredibuild. It's my pleasure to introduce Reggie Yativ, who is our chief revenue officer, just recently joined the company. So Reggie, would you take just a second to first introduce yourself, who you are, what you're doing, and then what you're doing here? Like, why did you decide to join Incredibuild?
Okay. Well, first, great to be here. Thank you for having me. So as you said, my name is Reggie, and I joined Incredibuild, and I'm already super excited about joining the company, and I can probably say a few words about why. So, first of all, from the first moment, I looked at the opportunity that we have. We have a fantastic opportunity of basically impacting development cycles in any segment, in any industry. Looking at the technology on a broad, high level, looking at the technology, this is a very impactful technology. It's also very easy to explain why would someone use Incredibuild. It's the ROI, the TCO improvements, the productivity improvements, the efficiency improvement. All of that was very, very refreshing for me because it wasn't really a big problem to explain. So I got really excited. Secondly, of course, is the team. It's this amazing team that's well-grounded, is very much enthusiastic about the challenge and the opportunity. And maybe third is I think the markets are going to a place where the developer empowerment is very important. So in my history, I've been working with companies that have been empowering developers. And I think Incredibuild is one of those, is creating a whole ecosystem of developers around it that are really excited to use the product. And I think that's amazing. So if you add all those things up, I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm joining.
Yeah, I think I experienced the same thing last year, right? I've been here almost a year now. So I've had a little more time to kind of plan what I'm doing, but you've been a couple of months?
Yeah.
3 months now?
Yeah.
So that's enough time for you to have planned everything as well, right?
Sure.
So how is it looking for the go-to-market, the expansion plans and everything? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I mean, 2 months is not a long time, but it actually allowed me to see things in several perspectives. I think first, we have a tremendous potential in the Americas, but we also have a big potential in EMEA, and we started to see the Incredibuild impact in APAC. We are currently an international company, but what I want to do is take that to the next level and work together with the management team, turning this into a truly global organization, which means that we would basically hire more locally, get closer to our customers, bring on more people, not just commercial people, as people tend to think right away. Bring more salespeople. It's not just salespeople. It's the whole customer journey that drives my go-to-market. So it's anything from impacting the community, the developer community, developing a real community program for all those hundreds of developers that work with us, all the way to how do we really reach enterprise buyers. We talk with a lot of them, but do we fully understand them? And those are processes that we are now doing to fully analyze how we are addressing those personas. And then turning really global means also, getting your support, your customer success, your marketing, turning all those functions or bringing all those functions closer to customers so that we understand them better and we serve them better. At the end of the day, our customer base is so big that I know that they would appreciate the experience with Incredibuild. So we got to keep working on making that experience better and closer, and the relationship, deeper and clear to our customers. So I think that's been my first, high level observation in terms of how do I take that organization forward, and that's certainly what I'm implementing right now.
Yeah, and even before you joined, there's a lot of passion in the company. with everyone that I work with too and interact with for the same thing, right? We really want what's best for our customers. And so very happy that you've joined and that we have a leader that's on the same page with all of us. And so really excited to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate
for all
it.
of that too. But you mentioned motions just a minute ago as well. Can you talk about the personas? What personas would you say would be the most attractive to somebody looking at Incredibuild?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, I mean, there's a bit of a list here, but I would just try and categorize them. If you're looking at the developer dimension or developer motion, you could see developers that are just getting started. For example, game developers just, that partied, 2-3 developers that's starting now to develop a game. Those will have limited budget, limited time, and Incredibuild certainly can empower them. So some people call them garage developers, or I don't know, but it's a smaller company, startups. And then in that same bucket, you have developers that are working for large organizations, large companies. They have different agendas. They have bigger projects. They have different budgets. They have different timelines. So those are, I would say, generally, developer is a key persona for Incredibuild. Now, going in somewhere in the middle, you're looking at once a company grows and develop its IT infrastructure, now you start talking to IT leaders. So it could be in R&D or in development teams, or in infrastructure, in cloud, DevOps, those teams. And here you're looking at mid-sized companies that have already good developed practices. So we need to make sure that they understand our value and we communicate to them in their language. And maybe finally let's say the buyer personas, the people that make decisions on a budget, the people that make big decisions like moving to cloud or transitioning into cloud. They have big projects, it's complex. You're talking major corporations and Fortune 1000 organizations that have large budgets, but they also have a lot of needs that we as an Incredibuild team, we need to learn how to cater to those needs. And we have that capability. We just have to keep developing it. And so I would say, without getting too detailed, those 3 categories, I think those are those that will keep us the busiest.
Since you ended on the buyers too, and we talked about this during the week, that the buyers don't necessarily care about going fast, right? Which we get tempted to talk about a lot because our product does that, but what does that mean to a buyer?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So we are not only delivering speed, we are delivering great speed, and we can accelerate any build or basically any project out there. But at the end of the day, the outcome of that is what? It's better quality of deliverables. It's better. It's resilience. It's control. It's compliance. It's stability of the environment. It's all of those factors that play a major role for enterprise when they consider what technology to use. So it's a combination of speed and efficiency, speed and resilience, speed and control, which is what our buyers want to see in our offering. So it's on steroids. Definitely our offering is putting everything on steroids, but it also has to be, the right quality in the right time in the right situation. So this is what we are working on right now in terms of explaining to people our offering better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, speed means more turns of the crank, right?
Yep.
So you catch more bugs, fix them faster. We talked to somebody else too who said that before Incredibuild, they had a ping pong league. So the developers and the build engineers would start a build and then they'd play ping pong until the build was done.
Yes.
With Incredibuild, it killed their ping pong league because they hadn't having more time to play ping pong.
Well, that's a good point. You know what? Since we are in GDC, I would say something that one of the developers here told me is that all of a sudden, since they started, well, it's not for him. It wasn't for his manager. It was about TCO and ROI and cloud savings and all of those wonderful things that, by the way, you could see that clearly yesterday with the AWS and Azure announcements, how they like working with Incredibuild, because we are basically empowering people to go to cloud. But for that developer, what mattered to him was that all of a sudden he has a lot of free time. He doesn't have to sit and wait. They could learn new skills, for example, new programming skills, or they could just pick up a hobby, or they feel more relieved that they just don't have to spend all that time waiting for the wheels to spin, right? It's a big relief for them, and it's a feedback of someone who's really using our product for a while. So it was kind of nice to see how we are able to touch people also on a personal note. It's kind of nice to see it.
Yeah, developers want to develop. That's why they're in this industry, right?
Yes.
Not to wait on a build.
Yes. There have been a lot of excited people like that we've seen during the show, so it was pretty amazing. Generally speaking, it was pretty amazing to see in GDC our profound impact on the gaming space. Not only that, we're working with all the major league players here that just walked into our booth, but also to see the future projects that people have in mind, the AR, VR explosion, the fantastic innovation that we have around us. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned in that last bit too about a few of the partners. We have AWS, we have Azure, we have many, many others. What role do you think all of that's going to play in this growth and the plans that you have for expanding the company?
Yeah, it's clear from the statements that everyone saw online yesterday. It's public statements that AWS and Azure believe, and GCP as well, by the way, they believe in us being a glue in their gaming stack. So, but generally what that means is that they believe that Incredible is a good glue, putting together a few components that allow big deployments, anything from on-prem to hybrid to cloud. For them, this is really, really important. And I think partnerships and channels, by the way, for us, are going to be a very important part of our deployment. Take, for example, in Asia-Pac, there's specific areas where we're planning on having most of our business going through partners. And I think generally speaking, the ecosystem around Incredible, partnerships that we're weaving right now into our strategy are going to be very, very significant in our growth. They're going to be basically a growth accelerator for us in the coming 24 months. So really a key component in the strategy.
I think the other exciting thing about that as well, the fact that AWS and Azure and Google, all the big cloud providers, are partnering with a tool that helps customers reduce their cloud costs it's a big deal, right? It means that one, they believe in the tool, but two, they want what's best for their customers too.
This is a great statement. By the way, looking at Incredible from the outside, I did ask that question.
Right.
And quite quickly.
If I'm an AWS sales rep, I go, what?
Yeah. What are you selling a tool that actually reduce,
Right.
But I also realized, talking to very senior people in AWS and Azure is that they're actually seeing they are customer centric as much as we are. So they do see the best interest of customers. Also, they think about this long term. If you bring your customers good value and good customer experience, you are going to keep them for a long time. And they're going to appreciate the relationship and appreciate the good advice you gave them. And I think AWS is looking at this, from that perspective is, hey, let me give you good advice. Using a tool like Incredible will increase your efficiency, will improve your quality, will shorten your time to market with releases. So why not using something like that, right? So good advice, and this customer will remember that advice and will stick to working with AWS for a very long time. So it's a longer term thinking, longer term strategy, not by any means not a hit and run strategy. Right. That doesn't work anymore. I mean, the world changed. Buyers are too smart, too educated.
Yeah. I think in terms of like you find a good mechanic, right? You use that person for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Right? As soon as a mechanic does you wrong, you never go to that mechanic
of course.
again. If they're looking out for you trust them. Right.
Yep. No one appreciates bad advice.
Right. Right. So last thing I want to talk to you about, or second to last thing, last Incredible specific thing. I want to ask you, you've been here for a few months now. One of the major reasons that I joined the company really was the team. I got to meet with Tammy, I got to meet with the marketing team, and I got to meet with Dory, who I'm going to talk to later today as well. That's really what sold me. Like, these guys are passionate. They're really on board with what I want to do with community initiatives and things. But I'd love to hear just both from before you joined the company, kind of now that you've been here for a few months too. What are your impressions of the team here?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So I think at the end of the day, it is really important for me personally that I work in an environment where there's passion for what you do. There's energy in the air, so that when you walk in the office, sit with people, doesn't matter what they do, if they're management, if they're not management, if they just started 2 days ago in Incredible, then I did have that recent interaction with a lot of people because we're hiring in big quantities right now. So talking to a lot of new people in 2 days, they are already energized. They understand the potential, they understand where this is going. For me, this is very energizing. And I think even after a short period of time, you can just get that energy in the air. The other thing is, I think everyone is connected well. They share that vision. It's not just the vision of the company, but it's sharing each other's burdens and worries and working with each other. And I keep telling the team it takes a village to win something that big that we're trying to accomplish in the next 2 years. So that village is really close, and I think that's the other thing I've seen after just a couple of days in Incredible. And I find that amazing. It's an amazing culture. We have to keep it.
Yeah, even just here at GDC. I mean, I agree. It's a great team. Yep. Everyone's helping each other out. Really great place to be.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, final question. We're asking this to all the people we're having in here to talk with us. We're at GDC. This is the big gaming conference. I want to ask you about one of your favorite gaming memories. Can you, as far back as you want to go, I know you were probably on Halo match last night, right, in your hotel room? Yeah. But do you have a gaming memory that you can share with everybody?
Well, Atari, if I kind of look back at my, childhood and what made me really excited, I still remember that I think it started black and white, but I don't want to disclose my age. Or green, I just don't remember, but it was just amazing. For me, it was mind-blowing how this game was able to put people in their chairs for hours. If you think about it, it was really a plain, simple game. But the other amazing thing is, if you ask people until today, what is Atari, everyone knows, right? So it's something that probably was a cornerstone for the gaming phenomena or industry. And until today, even young people know what Atari is, right? Yeah. And it's always funny how that thing warmed up and cartridges exploded and the TV stopped working with it. But that was early days, but I still remember that as one of the most exciting experience, playing games.
So I'll reveal my age. My first gaming console was a Pong machine with just the paddle and play like that, and then the next one was in television. But for me, those things brought the family together because I played with my dad, I played with my brother, played with my sisters. Friends came over, we all got around, and that was a thing. My dad and I would go to the store and then you pick out new games. That was kind of a big treat. You get to get a new game.
Well, totally. Games, like a lot of other things in the world, turned very much a social experience. So that's part of the reason why game development became highly complex. It's really an art to develop a game that will be attractive enough to the audience today, right? The eyeballs, people are just looking for the eyeballs, and those people are very quick on deciding good game, not so good game. So there's a big responsibility for game developers now to produce exciting stuff. And, it's hard to be a game developer these days. You need to be really sharp, really good at what you do.
Way more complex than making a movie, right? You have movie quality graphics. Absolutely. But it's interactive. Yeah. So, if you look at the credits for any of these big games with those kind of graphics, it's way more people than work on a movie. Yeah. Very complex. Well, cool. Reggie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for taking time to come down and talk here.
Thank you, Jim.
Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you.